Hello everyone and welcome to the Kickabout. Welcome to a special extra video this week. It felt like we had no choice. Do we start an actual Chris and Dan therapy session?
I think it's going to happen whether we want to or not, to be honest. We're just every week and we're like, ready, same time next.
We're going to have our own WhatsApp, just literally just me and you, okay, let's do it again. I mean, look, West Ham have had their fair share of shit this season so far. It did sort of feel like at the start of the season like Man United were very much better equipped to not have the sort of start of the season they've had. Did you envisage it starting like this? I mean, the Grimsby, obviously, it's annoying because we put the video out about Bruno earlier in the week, but we recorded that, of course, before the Grimsby game and before the West Ham game against Wolves as well. So we've both been knocked out of the Cup before we even got out of August. We're both out of the Cup. How has it got this bad again this quickly? Can you put your finger on it? Do you single one person or one player out here?
I don't think it's one person. I don't think it's one player. I don't know, really. I think the whole thing is an absolute shit show, really. I know it's not great for a chat, but I really don't know what to say. Honestly, I was so looking forward to that Grimsby game, which sounds stupid, just because we'd been shit against Fulham. Really, we were good against Arsenal, but we didn't win. It doesn't matter how well you play. If you don't win, it means fuck all. But against Grimsby, I organised like a nice little dinner to make. You know what I mean? Like I thought,
make an evening of it.
3 or 4 goals against Grimsby. They might get a goal against us. I knew we were away from home. I knew they'd be up for it. But I thought they're League Two. Like we've never lost to a League Two in our history.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Constantly breaking records. I was really looking forward to it, and then as the game got going, I was like, I knew they were going to be up for it. Like those sort of teams always, like Plymouth against Liverpool last season and stuff like that. But they were Championship.
Yeah.
But I knew they were going to be up for it, and watching the game, I was just like, there were certain players, and I looked at them and I thought, you should literally never ever put a Man United top on in your career ever again. I'm watching them and I'm like, you're on 150 at least grand a week. You play for playing for a Premier League team, let alone Man United, is one of the hardest things in the world to do because there's so many hoops you've got to jump through to make it. How can you turn up against a League Two team who some of them are probably like postmen and stuff like that? I don't know what the salaries are in League Two, but I can't imagine they're all full time.
I think they are all full-time professionals.
Okay, fair enough. Still, my point
obviously
stands.
they're on. Yeah, exactly. The point stands. They're still on the bottom end of the bracket, aren't they?
You shouldn't be getting, and it wasn't just like a smash and grab. We didn't smash them and they managed to get a goal or two. Like they dominated us in periods. I mean, their first goal, the bloke stood there all alone in the box.
Yeah.
Like Dallo, I don't know where the fuck he was. He's supposed to be right wing back, and then that Fredrickson, like bless him, I felt bad because he's a kid, but he had a stinker, and if you can't turn up against a League Two team, you're probably not going to be getting many more chances this season, to be honest. No,
I think as you say, I think it's not necessarily the fact that you've lost; it's the way in which you've lost that's the problem. You could have had a dominant performance. It could have been, say, 1-1 or 0-0, and then you lost on penalties. Penalties are a kind of, they're a bit of a gamble and a dice roll. Anyway, we know that. But to not really look that interested or that in control of the game at any real point for 90 minutes against a League Two team is so incredibly worrying. We'll talk about the players first, and then I want to get on and talk about Amorim, because I think there's lots of conversations to have around him. Let's talk about some of the players first. The goalkeeping situation, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. It's been a problem that needed solving for United for some time. This is a bit like, again, making this the West Ham Man United agony corner. This is the West Ham midfield issue, isn't it?
Goalkeeper
at the moment as well. Actually, yeah, we're much more alike than I realised. But it's one of those ones where it's like, how has it not been solved yet? And it sounds like this goalkeeper you're getting for Royal Antwerp, it sounds like that's stalling at the moment because United are not budging on how much they value him.
And again, even if we sign him, I don't. If we were signing Donnarumma, I'd be like, right, we know he's a great goalkeeper.
He's coming in to be number one.
Yeah, he's going to be good. But with this Lamens, I know nothing about him. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about him. I've seen compilations of good saves, compilations of bad saves, but he's not going to come. He'll come in and Like, I remember when De Gea came in, the first couple of seasons he was trash, and I was like, this guy's awful. And then he became one of our best ever goalkeepers. Lamens could be like that, but we need someone now. We don't need someone who's good in 2 years. We've already got 2 shit goalkeepers.
Get Tom Heaton in.
I genuinely would have played Tom Heaton against Grimsby.
Yeah.
I would have, because he's pretty much made it clear that Bayinda seems to be the number one at the moment. He's played both Premier League games. I would have put Tom Heaton in goal for the Grimsby game and said, "Fuck you, Onana." Just straight up, like
He's
genuinely,
just not good enough.
That bloke, I would have taken him off at half time just to prove a point. Like, you are fucking dog shit. I wouldn't have let him get on the bus. I would have literally shut the bus and made him walk home. I wouldn't have even given him money for a taxi.
Right, okay, well that's quite clear on how you feel about Onana.
It makes me... I don't know if you've seen that video of him where he's like being interviewed and then he's sort of like joking like, I go from Champions League final goalkeeper to worst goalkeeper. Like, no. It's like, yeah, you are fucking dreadful, mate.
You were never a Champions League final goalkeeper.
You are dreadful, mate.
You might have been in the Champions League final, but you are not a Champions League final caliber goalkeeper.
The first goal is literally at his near post.
He gets down so slowly.
And the second one, mate, why are you coming out with 2 fists flying? He's nowhere near it. No. Absolutely
when
nowhere
you're coming through
it.
A crowd of people like that, you've got to be absolutely certain you're going to get
and
there.
He's a big bloke, do you know what I mean? He's not like a little weedy bloke. Like, he's quite a big...
Yeah, he's big build.
Yeah.
I mean, that in a way might be one of the reasons why he's so slow to get down, because he does have quite a bulky upper body. So that might be what...
We've got to fucking save one of them then.
That's true.
I'll forgive you for one or the other, but you can't have a weakness for that and then like the thing you should have a strength for. Fucking hell.
Oh dear. Let's talk about some of the other players in the team as well. We'll start with Ahmad.
I thought he had a shocking game.
He had a bit of a stinker. Yeah. He's not started this season in the way I think that we expected him to.
He's another one that I feel sorry for because I really like Ahmad, and last season he was our best player. Not that was hard to do really, but he's not a wing back.
No,
I don't think he's a 10 either. I think he's a winger, but he's being sort of shoehorned into one of these positions. And I don't know. I think he's our best right wing back because he's quick and he has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I think Dallo is terrible.
Dallo is another one you need to get rid of.
Yeah.
He is absolutely dreadful.
He can't defend.
No, and
he's constantly caught out of position. Yeah, and he's no good going forwards whatsoever.
Yeah. I do also think that I suppose we can sort of move this conversation on. Just one last player is Benjamin Sesko. I feel like the team just kind of almost like it feels like it's not set up for him properly.
Yeah.
And dare I say it, is there a worry for you as a United fan that Sesko ends up becoming a sort of distant figure in the same way that Højlund did?
Yes and no. I think because I was literally like shouting at my fucking TV during the game. Like, we've got Sesko's 6'5". I'm literally shouting, just fucking cross the ball to him. Like, just put the ball in the air. Like, he had quite a good header on goal. Like the goalkeeper made some fucking good saves.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But there was one bit where we crossed the ball in. He rose above everybody, got a good head in, and the keeper made a great save. And I'm like, why are we not doing that? Like, play to his strength. Like, we kept trying to like launch the ball over the top for him to sprint onto, and he is quite a quick bloke, but. He's not like, he's not like a little Kun Aguero who can twist and turn. He's 6'5" lank pole.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to play to people's strengths, and that's it just annoys me. Like, we're putting players in positions that they don't necessarily fit, and this is the problem as well. Like Amorim. If Amorim could sign 11 players, I think he would sign 11 players. Like, he needs proper wing back. I think Dorgu. I really like Dorgu. I've seen a lot of hate for Dorgu recently, which I think is weird. I think he's been one of our best players.
Yeah.
But I think we need a right wing back who can actually play right wing back, like a Munoz for Palace. That'd be perfect. 10s. I mean, I think Cunha will be great in the number 10, and Burmo.
I'm not so sure.
When I watched him against Grimsby, he kept going high and wide.
He wants to play out wide. He wants to come off the touchline.
And he wants to cut in. And that's how he scored his goal. He sort of cut in and then hit with his left. Whereas when he's already starting inside, it's difficult for him. He's sort of running into Cunha's space.
Yeah.
So I think that was I was always really excited about buying Cunha. And the entire time I was saying, and Burma should go to Newcastle. It'd be fucking great for Newcastle. I don't think he suits our system, but it's early days. It might work.
There's a case for saying that you didn't necessarily need to sign 2 10s anyway.
No. I can't remember if we had this conversation last time, but we've got so many 10s in the team. Not necessarily good 10s, but
just a lot of them.
Yeah, and Mount. I've had a lot of hate for Mount, but if he can stay injury free, I think he could be quite a key player for us.
I'm not sure playing him at left wing back was a good idea.
No.
That was a bit odd. Right. Okay. Well, let's move on to Amorim then, because as is often the case with football in today's world, is that regardless of what happens on the pitch, it often becomes the manager that takes the flak and takes the bullet if he does lose his job at some point or if he walks away. Obviously, I think there's a general, looking from the outside in, there's a general feeling of like fondness towards Amorim. Now, I've got to be a little bit careful because what I don't want to do is judge him in one way for what he's doing, where he sets the team up probably not right, is the formation really suited for the players that he's got, etc., and have sort of sympathy for him and say, hey, you've got to stick with him, you've got to give him time, but then criticise Graham Potter at West Ham for the exact same things. Because there is a lot of similarities. It feels like both managers at the moment are not putting players in their best positions, not playing a formation that really suits the players that they've got, and they're kind of just sort of, the lineup's not great, they're sticking with everything, they're sticking with their tactical approach come kind of hell or high water. And at some point, a manager should be able to go, this isn't working, I probably need to change this. One thing I do think is a little bit harsh, I know we've seen a load of funny memes, but the whole magnetic touchboard thing, it's a little bit embarrassing because of the scenario and the situation. If he was doing that when you were like 1-0 or 2-0 up, nobody bats a fucking eyelid. It looks odd, it's 2025, most people won't use old school magnetic tactical boards, I get it, but I think people are hyper-focusing on that because of all the other issues they've got with him, so I'm not really interested in talking about that particularly. But I do think that he needs to swallow his pride, I think, with this approach. I think he needs to get players back in positions that they go. I personally think you should start going back to more of a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. I know you've done it in the past with other managers and it hasn't always worked, but it feels like with the players that you've got, you'd be putting them in positions that more suit them. You can still play attacking fullbacks, of course you can. You can still get Maswari and Dorgu forward, but then you'd have Burma playing off the right.
Yeah.
You'd have Cunha could maybe play as like an inverted winger on the other side and cut in or something like that. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he should change it up, or do you think sticking with it is still the right approach?
I think if he changes the system, it's completely pointless because the whole idea was him to come in and play this system and get the players. If he goes to a back four, I think we probably would be better, but I think it's the players. My thing is, like, when Guardiola came in to City, there were players he didn't want because they didn't suit his system or whatever. They didn't suit his style of play.
Joe Hart being the obvious one.
Yeah, and he didn't. The club didn't say, sorry, you've got to play with them. We'll slowly bring in 1 or 2 players over the next 8 years. It was, right, we'll fucking get rid of them all. Joe Hart had been there. He was like I don't want to say club legend, but
it was a senior.
Yeah, he'd been there a long time, and he'd been there during their sort of rise to stardom. They fucked him off straight away. No shit's given. And there were a lot of players that were there were like, yeah, sorry, you don't suit. And Guardiola, they just got rid of. Whereas United, Amorim's come in, there's been a lot of, we've still got Mourinho players there, we've still got Van Gaal players there, we've still got Ollie players there. He's got like 6 different bloody managers. We've probably still got Alex Ferguson players there. But do you know what I mean? There's so many players there that from other managers that the manager before hasn't wanted, and yet they're still there.
Yeah.
And we sold Garnacho to Chelsea yesterday. That's our first sale of the summer.
Is it really?
With 3 days to go.
I suppose when you say sale, you mean as in an actual transfer, not a loan, I guess you mean.
Yeah. That's our first sale of money coming in of players that we don't want of the window, and there's 3 days to go until the window shuts.
That's crazy.
And that's what I mean. That's the difference between. Because obviously we have a budget, but you look at Chelsea, they've made, I think, 250 million in sales just this summer.
Yeah. And they've not really sold anyone a really massively high profile either.
And they've got good money for a lot of players that you'd be like,
They're bang average.
Yeah. I mean, like,
barely Premier League proven.
Yeah, like that Chuka Wemeka, I think he went to Dortmund for like 25 million. I've barely seen him play.
Yeah.
And yet we've just sold Garnacho for 30 to 40 million. It's like, And he's Premier League proven.
Yeah, I suspect that the reason it's low is A, because of his form, his temperament, and the baggage. I suspect that's why the fee's low. Because otherwise you would say he's a young World Cup winning winger who's played in the Premier League for a couple of seasons. You would have thought.
But I also think it's a difference between a club that's great with transfers and sales, like Chelsea. They know exactly what they've lifted last minute to sort of strong arm us into saying, take it or leave it. If they'd have put in a bid right at the start of the window, we'd have said we want 60 million for him.
Yeah,
they've got him for pretty much half that price.
Mm-hmm.
And again with us, it shows that we're so bad at we can't get rid of Sancho. He's happy to just sit there and take money and stink up the club.
Yeah,
we can't get rid of Casemiro.
No.
He's happy to just sit there, get his 350 grand a week.
Yeah.
Anthony's still there. I think Betis are doing exactly the same as Chelsea. They're going to leave it right until the last minute and say, can we have him on loan again?
Yeah.
And then his contract will probably get run down and they'll offer us like 10, 15 million for him.
Yeah.
Malasia's still there. I've seen apparently he's going on loan to La Liga again, so his contract will probably get run right down. We're not getting any money for any of these players.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, the difference, like how the club is it's so easy to just look at the manager, but you've got to look at the club in all, and like there's so many players there that Amorim doesn't want there and they don't suit his system, and we've brought in Amorim to play this certain system where the club, if we're a 4-2-3-1 team, we should have brought in a manager that plays 4-2-3-1. What is the point in bringing in a manager with a completely different thing on football and outlook on football if you're going to bring him in for a year? I know it's not been great, but if you bring him in for a year and say, yeah, it's not working, can you just play the same formation everybody else does, please?
Yeah, that's a very fair point. I suppose, keeping conversation on Amorim for a moment, again, looking from the outside in, from a sort of a neutral spectator here, I've always very much enjoyed his press conferences. I've very much enjoyed the way he is honest, the way he kind of says what's on his mind. Sometimes that works against him in terms of maybe being too honest at times. And I think that we've seen several examples of that this week following that Grimsby game. The post-match interview after the Grimsby game was very downbeat. It was almost like he was trying to dig his players out without directly doing it, where he mentioned about, I can't have 11 players or 22 players or whatever the number was he said. And sort of said that, something else has to change, almost hinting at his own job that needs to change. I think today he's been quoted as saying something else about potentially quitting.
Yeah.
Now, a manager's job, first and foremost, is to motivate his players. Forget the tactics, forget the lineups, forget the transfers. Your first job as a manager is to get those players playing hard, intense, and passionately for the club. I think he is falling way short of that at the moment. I do think some of that does fall on the players, though, to be clear, because they've had years of doing this with other managers. But I do think that Amorim has failed in that regard. And I do wonder, when players hear these sorts of post-match interviews, I don't think it's helping. I think this is where the whole PR and being a nice guy and being an honest guy goes the other way. There are certain things you can be honest about, and there are certain things you can be really open and clear about, and there are some things you just need to not say anything about. Tell everyone you're pissed off, tell everyone you're angry, and tell everyone that you're going to be having some strong words behind closed doors, and deal with it there. Don't out this to the public. And I do think that he's almost digging his own grave at this point.
Yeah.
I personally don't think he's going to get sacked. I think he will walk away before he gets sacked. I think his own personal pride, and say what you like about him, he does have a lot of personal pride, and he was like this in Portugal as well. I'm sure I read a story about how he was ready to walk away from football completely. From Casapia, that's it. Before he got the Sporting job and everything kind of went really well there. So I do think that he has a lot of personal pride in his own job and his own work, and he will be hurting at the moment because of what's happening. So I guess my question to you, if things don't change, let's say worst case scenarios, you get turned over by Burnley at the weekend.
Yeah.
What happens then? Do you see him walking away? Do you think it could be as early as 4 games into a season?
I mean, if we lose to Burnley, it's a massive game.
Do you think he can turn it round if that happens as well?
Thing is, we play better against the top teams. So we've got Chelsea and City coming up. We almost need those games.
It's ridiculous.
Which is stupid, isn't it? Like, I'm more worried about playing Burnley than I am playing Chelsea and City. Because I think the team will turn up and they'll put in a performance, and I don't know if we'll win or not. But if we got 2 draws or a win and a draw against Chelsea and City, you're laughing really. But I don't know. I really don't. Like you say, I agree. I don't think he'll get sacked. And the board have come out and they even said themselves that they made the mistake of backing Ten Hag with lots of money and then sacking him a couple of months later.
Right.
So I think they're very much like, we've brought Ruben in for the long term. We know it's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain. But
how much short-term pain?
Yeah, and the problem is, the longer it goes on, if you start losing to Grimsby and Burnley and Fulham and not Fulham aren't a bad team, but if you start losing to these sort of teams, it's the fans, that start turning, and then the club can't really ignore more and more fans getting involved. And I
do you see him turning it round? Is he the man for the job?
I hope so. I really like Bruno. I think Ruben. I think he's like a breath of fresh air in terms of management, to be honest. And I think he could be such a great manager. I hope he's given the time, and I hope that it works out. But at the moment, he doesn't instill me with confidence. And I've been so anti Ruben out. When I see people saying, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? But when I see the manager coming out saying, and it's not the first, if it's like a one-off comment like, I've
heat of the moment.
Yeah. But he's said it sort of 3 or 4 times now over the last 18 months or whatever it's been. And part of me thinks, I'm actually starting to believe him that he doesn't really want to be there.
Yeah. Do you is it like a confidence crisis in himself? Is it like a self-belief issue that he doesn't think he's the right man to do it?
Yeah, I think he's... Obviously, things have gone really well at Sporting, and like you say, he had the issue before where he nearly walked away from football. But maybe we'll have something like that. All it took there was he changed the formation, and then he got a run of... He won 7 games in a row, and then he started winning... he moved to Braga and then moved to Sporting and started winning titles and turned things around there. So hopefully we can have a Casapia moment where he tweaks something clicks, and I'm not saying we're going to start winning titles, but if we can start... Even Europe's a bit of a...
I think ultimately your goal this season has to be to get back into Europe. Europa League is a bare minimum, I think, for United. Just not because I feel like Ruben should be sacked and that's kind of what he should be achieving. I think it more just for a club perspective. Yeah. If you continually are gonna need to bring in even more players, you risk not being able to do that because you don't have that European money coming in. And also you then start attracting bigger name players for the wrong reasons because they're coming for money and not to be part of a project.
This is what I said to you as well. You look at that squad of players that we've got. I should be able to put them out against Grimsby and win that game. Yeah. So that's where, to me, I say it's not a manager issue, because I think no matter what manager, like you as bloody Wave Alley manager, you should be able to put that squad of players out and say, win that game. You shouldn't really have to do too much tactically.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Grimsby manager tactically got one over on...
No, I think the players got one over.
Yeah, I think the players were absolutely dreadful, and they've got to look at themselves. And this is what, before we even came on, we were talking about player power in terms of Isak, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so easy for players, to just down tools and say, if we get this manager sacked, we can start fresh and we can start all over again. It's always the manager that pays the price.
Yeah.
When some of these managers have been there for 5, 6, 7 years now, and they've been consistently shit for every single manager they've played for. But
this is the thing. You look at the managers that have come in. I appreciate that Mourinho, he was still, I wouldn't say at the peak of his powers, but he certainly hadn't fallen from grace like he maybe has in 2025. You had Mourinho, massively successful manager. Van Gaal, successful manager. David Moyes was a bit of an enigma, and it was a poison challenge because obviously the first manager after Sir Alex, he never had a chance. Ten Hag was tearing it up at Ajax, looked like a really good manager. Who else have you had? Solskjaer, he was a bit of a favourite one, but hilariously, Solskjaer is probably the only one that really looked like the players didn't give up on. I think there was other issues for why it didn't work with Ollie, but actually for a change, player passion and effort wasn't actually one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really know what the solution is here to United, and I think you are very much in a very similar situation to Potter. That if Potter goes, if Amorim goes, what next?
Yeah.
We're just restarting the clock every single time, and it's like, right, okay, well, it's going to be another 12 to 18 months before we see the fruits of this person's labour. So I'm with you, and I do think that Amorim has an awful lot more going for him than Potter does. I don't think that he should be walking away just now, but actually the choice of whether he stays or goes, I think it actually lies with him.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a club decision that does it. It could be him. So for your sake, I hope that you turn over Burnley and it's a vastly improved performance. Just try and generate some level of positivity around the place again. And maybe, at least then Amorim can come out and have a bit of a smile on his face, feel a bit better about himself. And
So we've got the international break, so
then
I'll
the
be happy
international
for 2
break.
weeks.
Well, exactly, and actually that's really important to have, is to have a win and a good performance going into an international break. That's massive. If you after the way your season started, and again it's the same with West Ham, if we both get turned over heavily at the weekend, or just turned over in general, going into that international break off the back of such a poor start in the league and the cup, that 2 weeks is going to feel like 2 months.
Yeah.
So massively important games this weekend. It's going to be really interesting to see how both teams play. Man United at home against Burnley, you'll be expected to win regardless of what's happened beforehand. West Ham not so much away against Forest, but yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think Amorim needs to be careful with what he says in press conferences. I hope somebody's had a word in his ear, and I understand he was talking with Sir Alex a little bit about this. Hopefully Sir Alex is helping him with that and saying, look, you need to stop this shit. If you're having these sorts of feelings in your own head, then I'm sure there must be people within the club that he can talk to and have those conversations with and maybe help him out a little bit. Don't have them to the press, because the press are like a pack of wolves.
They'll eat it up.
They will eat him alive, and so will the public.
Yeah.
I saw what's his name, Goldstein on TalkSport. He was absolutely seething at Amorim, calling him weak and pathetic and useless, and he should go and all this kind of stuff. So, and this is what happens when Amorim doesn't project the confidence. This is what happens. So, anyway, dare I say this is probably part 2 of Man United rants this season. Many more sequels to come, I suspect.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be the last.
And West Ham the same. There'll probably be one next Monday.
I was going to say, hopefully not one for me, but
yeah. So it'll be the other way around. We'll be laughing. I'll be crying. Dan will be laughing next week. Thank you very much, everyone. Do check out all the other videos on our channel. We are, of course, heading into an international break, so we'll do a video or two on England next week, depending on how things work out and how the games are. Thank you very much. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all very soon.
See you later.